rope climbs. I'm going to let you in on something. It's one of those movements that's easy when you know how. And in this video, we're going to show you some really useful technique advice that are going to make rope climbs easy for you to achieve. First thing first, you need to make sure you're protected. Now, I can tell you from experience that rope burns last a long time and hurt. So what you'll notice with Jacqueline, she's wearing tights and also has a knee sleeve around her ankle. Our points of contact on the rope are going to be through our thighs and through ankle. So you notice when you're watching the games or other athletes doing it, they wear these because it stops the rope burn happening. And the thing with the rope burn is you can be practicing quite a long time, it doesn't hurt too much, then after the session you'll see it appear. So make sure long tights or trousers are the best, and then also a knee sleeve at the bottom of or around the ankle to help with those points of contact. The most important thing with becoming confident in the rope climb is being able to secure the lock very well. Now there's lots of different ways you can lock your feet on the rope to secure. We're going to be looking at one way. We believe it's a great place to start. So my suggestion is this. You practice this technique and become very good at this technique, and then you can decide later on if there are other styles that fit you. However, just working through this can be very effective, and you need one style that you do well to begin to build that confidence. So one very obvious fact that you'll notice is that Jacqueline is sitting on a box. She's not standing up. The pure reason for this is if you have to practice rope climbs holding on to the rope, it gets very tricky. And we need to accumulate a lot of repetitions in order to get comfortable and confident before we start doing that. So what can happen here very simply, Jacqueline's going to be sitting down and she's just going to practice. You'll notice that this is her top leg, and it's just we'll just do that leg to start with. All that's happening is this leg sliding up the rope and back down, sliding up the rope, back down. And this is what we call the lock leg, is going to come around from the bottom and over the top, yeah? So the top leg simply slides up, the bottom leg goes around and locks. Now it seems quite simple, but it's really important that you are confident with this. So you can practice this numerous times, it's not very taxing. I'd even recommend you do this 30, 40 times just to build up that feeling. Leg goes up, locks, and then comes round. Leg goes up, locks, and then comes round. And what you can start doing is then testing how secure this lock is. So Jacqueline's going to come up. You don't have to go all the way through, but I just want you to put some pressure on that foot. Now what you'll notice is that the rope should not move or slide. That's what's going to allow us to climb up the rope easily without having to use too much upper body movement. So again, I can start to test. I come up, lock, and what I want to see is that rope does not slide. So once you're confident, and the reason we've used a high box here is you'll notice the ropes for safety reasons are off the floor here at the C23. This can also be done on a lower box as long as the rope is slightly longer. Therefore you have a bit more room to play with. But here we've doubled up the boxes just so you have some rope in order to achieve that lock. So I know we're going through these tips quickly, but the most important thing is practicing. We have a 6-week course that takes you through step by step these progressions and to build up the foundational strength. You can check out that course in the description below. We just got rid of the boxes, and now we're going to practice the rope climb from standing. So Jacqueline's just going to hold the arms straight, and we do exactly the same movement. Our legs slide up, our other leg locks, and back down. And again, we just want to be confident in this position. Just relax. What you'll notice is that Jacqueline's hanging on straight arms, and obviously this is more taxing because we're having to hold ourselves here. However, it's important, once again, we just build up repetitions so we know what the legs are doing, and we start to build that keyword confidence as we go through. The next step is exactly the same as we did. We start to test our lock. So Jacqueline's going to go up and she's going to try and transfer through. She locks and comes back down. And you'll notice that we're still very low on the rope. And what you should be able to achieve before you move on to the next step is to be able to do 10 locks in a row where the rope does not slide. So we'll show that again. So what will happen is as soon as Jacqueline locks the rope and transitions through, her feet don't slide down. So she establishes that firm foundation. And then back down. 10 in a row without rope slide. The next phase is we're simply just going to sit in that lock position. This is to build confidence in the position. So here now, Jacqueline can sit relatively comfortably. The reason is this is a firm position for the rope, and it's going to really allow her to go through the next movements. One thing I also want you to notice is that Jacqueline was very close to the rope. It becomes very hard to pull yourself up when you're leaning away. So you need to be over and on top of the rope in order to stand up. One thing that you should have noticed till now, we've not actually spoken about the upper body. And a lot of people associate rope climbs with lots of pulling. However, if you can find this good technique, you don't have to use as much upper body, which is why it becomes a lot easier. So now Jacqueline's established that firm base. All she has to do is then use a combination of her legs and her arms to go up to the next phase and repeat exactly the same motion. If we look at the whole rope, we actually have a 20-foot rope. There's a marking to 15 foot there. Jacqueline's just going to do 2 ascents, so you can see that we just go through repeating the pattern. We slide up, we lock, stand. Slide up, lock, and stand. Then it just becomes a process of repeating that. Slide, lock, stand, slide, lock, stand. And the confidence will come as soon as you feel that you have a secure lock. Rope climbs, easy when you know how. We have a course that goes in even further and develops the principles, looks at how we develop the strength, descending technique. You can find that in the description below. I hope that these tips helped. The one thing I really want to reiterate is make sure you build up the technique, because that is what's going to help you do them efficiently.